Hello and welcome back to my channel. Once again, this is Living with Reese, and this is the series where I start talking about how I went from being a crazy evangelical to a crazy agnostic atheist person who studies witchcraft and practices. We have a thick stack of cards, not stick of cards, but we have a thick stack of cards to get through today. And then we'll answer about as many of these as we can today. And then tomorrow we'll answer more. So, I'm going to look down at the cards to keep me on track. But I did want to say we're sitting at a park today in the lovely shade because it is like 98 degrees with a heat index of like 112 or something. And we know I can't do heat, so hello. I want to be able to look at my cards, so that's why we're not driving. But yeah. So, in today's video, or actually in this series, we want to discuss how exactly I went from being a Christian minister in training to being an agnostic atheist. We're also going to discuss what is agnosticism and what is atheism. We're going to discuss how one can be an agnostic atheist. We're also going to discuss how one can be a witch and still not believe in any gods, goddesses, ancestors, etc. We're going to talk about what is the universal energy that I believe we have the power to manipulate, and how I use that as a witch. And we're also going to discuss in general how my family feels about what I'm doing now and what my family's still doing. So, I did already give you guys my disclaimer, so if you haven't already watched that video, go back and watch it. All right. So with that being said, let's talk about my discoveries. Okay. So, 7 years ago, I discovered that I was born into a cult. An evangelical cult. These crazy people called themselves so many different things, it was ridiculous. They were charismatic evangelicals. They also called themselves Judeo-Christians. They were all over the place. They didn't know. They called themselves Pentecostal and holiness too. And they believed in something that they called divine healing. Whew, yeah, a lot of confusion there, right? But, yeah. I was born into that cult, and I call it a cult because the definition of a cult is something that has no factual basis, but just something built upon a belief system. And the difference between the cults and the occult is the occult uses magic and stuff like that overtly, whereas cults, from what I've been studying so far, use magic too, but they just don't realize it. They call it using the spirit, and the air quotes are there because, like I said, I don't believe in any of that. Yes, I was born into that bunch of crazy shit. We'll go into another detail all about that. But my parents were also in that, and they were diehard for the foolishness that we had been taught in that. A lot of stuff with no biblical basis, and if you're a Christian, you're supposed to pretty much live by the Bible. Certain evangelicals are die hard about the biblical principles and laws. They remind me of people who believe, of Muslims who are all about carrying out Sharia law. Well, that's the way a lot of evangelicals act too. Oh, gasp, clutch your pearls. Yes, I actually compared your foolishness to another Abrahamic faith's foolishness, because the Abrahamic faiths have this circular foolishness thing going on. We'll get into that in further detail later on. But, yeah. For the first 12 years of my life, all I knew was that cult. I even went to a church school that my mom ran in that cult. And she ran it with a couple of other ladies. And I was just, everything was of the devil the way my mom thought. We couldn't watch TV, so I had no idea what any popular references were, because there's a verse in the Bible that says be in the world but not of the world, and my mom took that to be literal. So we were allowed to watch the news so we know what was going on around us, and we were allowed to watch public broadcasting because public broadcasting didn't have any of the American mainstream stuff in it. It had things like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, Sesame Street, things like that. And we were allowed, and Reading Rainbow and stuff like that. We were able to watch that. But for years, my parents took the dials off the TV. Mainly my mom took the dials off the TV because she didn't want us changing the channel from, they like CBS News, and later on they would watch the news that came on NBC, and they only let us watch public broadcasting, like I said. So when I got out of that church school, I was 12 years old and in the 7th grade. And everybody else in the 7th grade was 13 and 14. And I was not only a grade above people my age, but I was also in what was considered honors. Now, honors was our version back in the early 90s version of International Baccalaureate, where you got college credit for your classes. So I was getting college credit way young. But I didn't fit in with any of those people because I was so brainwashed to the way the cult worked, and I didn't know anything popular that they knew, that I was just like really bullied really bad. And I mean, I can't, looking back at it, I mean, when I was younger, I hated those kids very much for being mean to me, but looking back at it, I don't blame them for acting like that. I was like a freaking space alien. But we were just completely indoctrinated in that so deeply that we were terrified of pissing off God, pretty much. So anything that was out in the world would piss off God, according to my mom. So now my dad was working 3 jobs, so my mom could stay home and teach us and stuff. So I never really saw my dad except for on Sundays and stuff when he wasn't working, because my dad to this day is a diehard evangelical and will not work on Sunday for anything. You could promise him a mint worth of gold, like seriously, Fort Knox worth of gold, if he works on a Sunday, and my dad would be like, oh well, you know, money is material and that's of the devil, and I'm gonna go to church all day long because that's what God wants. And he'd pass up all the riches. He would. So my mom, for those of you who don't know, my mom has passed away. She passed away almost 8 years ago. It'll be 8 years. Oh my God, it'll be 8 years next Wednesday. That's crazy. But yeah, so my mom was really influential in teaching us with what we were supposed to know and weren't supposed to know. So I say all that to tell you that the stuff I was being taught didn't sit right with me. It never felt right. It felt kind of stupid to me. Like the rules that we had to do in order not to piss off this alleged great being. And I'm thinking to myself, if we're all useless, worthless little ants to him, why the fuck does he care what the fuck we do? That makes no sense to me. Why would something that big be concerned with what the fuck I'm doing? I'm probably not even a blip on his radar. But I would ask like questions. Like whenever I would do something, like, yes, I did it, I'm awesome. The number one rule was nothing exalts itself higher than the knowledge of God. Whatever the fuck that meant. So I would be like, yay, I'm awesome. No, you're not. God is awesome. God did that through you. You didn't do anything. So my first question that got the piss smacked right out of me was, why should I give God credit for something I clearly did? I didn't see him here. I didn't see him doing it. That was just me doing it. Yeah. Pop. Smack right in the face. because I had spoken ill against God. Which, I'm going to have a brief tangent here. God is actually not his name. God is his species, his state of being, what he is, not who he is. But anyway, learned that in seminary. My other questions that I would ask and get smacked in the face for was, why is my liking magic wrong? I mean, what's so bad about magic? What's so bad about the thought of being able to do something and make changes happen? I have an answer for that, but they didn't have an answer. They just had a smack for me again. My mom. Love her. And don't get me wrong, this is not for me to bash my parents. This is not for me to bash my religion. This is just me getting my truth out there. I'm going to go on for about 5 more minutes, so we're probably not going to get through all these cards today. But I just want to let you guys know that I love my mom dearly. I loved her to death. Quite literally, I loved her until she died, and I still love her now. But I am sad that she lived her whole life believing what I feel is a lie. But that's another story for another day. My other questions I would ask is, why is my feeling that I'm a boy is wrong? Because for those of you who don't know, I consider myself non-binary. When I was born, and up until I actually hit puberty and started bleeding, I swore to God I knew I was a boy. Knew it without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, everything my brothers liked, I liked some things even more than them. Like, they got the cars and I got the stupid doll babies, and I didn't want to play with the damn doll. Who cares about her hair and her makeup? I wanted to play to play with the trucks and the big Tonkas. My brothers had this Tonka truck set, and it had a cement roller and a cement mixer. It had my favorite one, which is a bulldozer. I have always loved bulldozers. Always wanted one. I thought they were the coolest things ever because it could dig giant holes. Had a backhoe. It had a steamroller. It had the whole thing you would need to build any type of road. And I thought, my bloody goodness, I want one too. They used to get in trouble for playing with their toys because girls aren't supposed to play with that. And I was like, I'm not a girl. Get out of here. But anyway, yeah. Asked them why I couldn't go ahead and be a boy since I am a boy. And that got me beat because God doesn't make mistakes. And I'm not a boy. And then as I started getting older, I understood that I liked girls, which solidified my belief that I was a boy, because according to my parents, only boys like girls. Girls can't like girls. So I asked, why was if God doesn't make mistakes and God's not wrong, why would he make me a girl who likes girls then? Got another beating. Didn't understand why. Apparently homosexuality is a sin. Didn't know what the hell a homosexual was. I was a kid. Let's see. Then I asked the question of all questions that was the most forbidden. If God is considered to be so good, why is that so when he's so horrible and let so many horrible things happen? Yeah. I really got pretty much beat for that because I had all but blasphemed against him. No, hold on. They told me I did blaspheme. Got beaten because that's a hellbound offense. Also asked if he was so good, why would he ever consider sending somebody to hell just because they didn't worship him? Oh, got beat for that too. And the one that got me exercised. Oh my God, I've been exercised 4 times and survived because I'm a hard ass bitch to kill. But let me tell you, I said, why the hell are you guys so gung-ho to beat the shit out of Satan? And he really, he's not doing anything but what he was created to do. Because remember, God made everything and everybody, and God doesn't make mistakes. So he essentially made Satan to be the way Satan is so that he could beat up on him. Why is that? If he's so good, why would he do that to him? Exorcism, because the devil had taken hold of me. Exorcism number 1. We'll get into the other exorcisms a little later. Like I said, I had a million questions, you guys. And none of them had any answers other than God said it, I believe it, and that settles it. Because God is almighty, all-powerful, all-knowing, and he's the only thing that's good in the entire existence. You don't question him ever. Questioning God is going to get you beaten to submission. Not good. So, this video is over 15 minutes now. We didn't get through all the cards. Not that I thought we would. But that's the start of what started me wondering why I was being told this stuff that didn't feel right to me. And that's me telling you why it didn't feel right for me. Let me know in the comments below if you would like to have more videos that are this length, or if you would like for me to just get it all done in one video. I'll talk to you guys later. As always, take care, stay safe, I love you, and please stay tuned for the next video.